it's raining in Tabasco, which is a pretty rare thing to happen, but it's happening, so I'm kind of happy. So, yeah. Before you listen to the whole story, I want to tell you that you can either take it like really serious and talk about how fucked up it was and how fucked up I was and the reasons why I ended up in that situation and how abusive he was and all that. Or you can make fun of me and laugh at me and all that. But something I'm not going to accept is that you try to judge me and blame me for what happened. Because, dude, I was fucking 13. How could I know? So, yeah. Um, I'm sleepy right now, so let's go to the point or the story, and I'm just gonna, disappear. So, so this is a story I didn't remember or didn't recall until a few weeks ago, and it was because I saw him again, and yeah, I would always see him or run into him after what happened and remember, oh, I did have something with him, or I had a love affair with him. But apart from that, or besides that, I didn't like remember, or I didn't like really tried to recall anything, because I just tried to forget it and forget everything that happened and that. So I had to really take a time to remember everything that happened, because there are some things I wasn't really sure about, or that weren't clear enough. So the first time I tried to record this, episode, I failed. I failed, and it was all confusing, and because it was confusing for me, so I made it confusing. And this time I think I'm gonna tell the story like a lot more better, and just in order, like chronological order, I think that's called. I don't know. So yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna like really go over my Word document. So it was 2018 or 2018. It was all a mess, because my stepfather had died, and it affected me because he was like a father to me. I grew up with him since I was like 6 years old, and my mother really loved him, my family loved him, everyone, to be honest. And I was affected, even though I didn't show it that much, because by the time I started to go to church, and that kept me together for a while. And after my stepfather died in July, so I entered in middle school in August, and it wasn't like I wasn't depressed. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was starting to feel like sad, and I just wasn't happy with my life. And I also had a lot of self-esteem problems or issues. I didn't love myself at all. Like I could barely look at myself in the mirror or anything, or take photos of me. I was really insecure about myself, which is something you really need to know to understand why I ended up in this situation or in that situation. So yeah. So let's get to know the characters, or the main characters. At least the ones you need to know. So there's Daniel, who is Jose's brother. And then we have Jose, who is the son of a bitch who broke my heart and, messed up with me and all that. Daniel and Jose went to the same middle school as my brother, so I had seen them before. Like, never really talked to them, but they lived in the same, well, not in the same street, but they lived like 2 streets behind mine. So I would see them like from time to time, but that. And a few days before the love story started, I ran into Jose and Daniel, and we kind of smiled at each other. I don't know why, and that, was kind of peculiar for me, or to me, because, I knew that they existed, but I'd never talked to them, as I said. So, that was like pretty odd, maybe. But, I just smiled at them because, I remembered they were like my brother's kind of friends or something like that. But yeah. So I had just started like playing Free Fire on my mom's cell phone because I didn't have a cell phone. I had a tablet, but not a cell phone. And the love story started because I invited Daniel to play a game on Free Fire. I didn't even know that it was that Daniel from my brother's middle school era, so I, didn't know what Daniel was, So Jose was like playing with Daniel, and we kind of met because of that. So I don't know if you know, but on Free Fire you play and you also talk, or you also have like a voice call. So we were talking, and I think we kind of zinged or connected from the first time, because we just started talking, and it wasn't even about the game. It was about life, or making jokes, and he was pretty flirty with me, so that was like really funny, and we were doing that. So that was like a thing. We would play together with Daniel and other friends, but it was always about us talking. And even his friends started like, to make jokes about us and about us kind of flirting with each other. Know that it was pretty, obvious from the first time. The thing is, I didn't know who they were, I knew I had them on Facebook, or I had Daniel on Facebook. I didn't know he lived on the same like city or anything. So I once asked them, where are you from, or where do you live? And they said like the place I lived. And I was like, what? So who are you? Or have we met before? And we were kind of trying to understand the situation, because it was pretty rare to meet someone on a game and then find out you live literally in the same city, in the same block. I don't know if it's block or so that was odd. And then Jose used to text me on Daniel's messenger to set up a time to play, and it was pretty peculiar, and I found it like odd, because why would he text me on his brother's messenger? Then I found out he had a girlfriend, and that he couldn't text me on messenger because his girlfriend had access to his account and all that. So here comes a really damn god fun fact about this. So while I was playing with Jose and getting to know him, my bestie told me about a guy who worked at the grocery store, who was like pretty and all that. I never really knew who the guy was, because I didn't used to go to that grocery store that much, because it was like kind of far away from my house, and there were other grocery stores like nearer my house. But my bestie used to like tell me about how much she liked him, or how she had a crush on him and all that. So while I was flirting with Jose and having conversations there were times where we would just talk and not really play. So we would just talk and talk, like have like a voice call. So I finally added him on WhatsApp because, we couldn't talk on Messenger. And he told me he worked at a grocery store. And when he told me the name, like I just, literally figured out that he was the one whom my bestie had a crush on. I don't really know how to like make that sentence, but we were like in love with the same guy. And then I told my bestie, and then we figured it out, and then we found out we were in love with the same person. Like, the thing is that she wasn't really in love with him because she never talked to him. Like, nothing really happened between them. It was just like a crush, like a platonic crush. And I already had a sort of relationship with this guy. So after that, we met several times, like in person. And, the place where we used to meet was in the grocery store or nearby. And in case you're wondering, like, what did you tell your mom to, get away with it and meet him? So as I told you, I used to go to church, and, I used to go to church like alone. So the times when I met him, like, I used to say, I'm going to church, and I really wasn't going to church. So I remember the first time I met him in person after, the Free Fire thing. And, I was really nervous because, as I said, I was super insecure and I didn't love myself. And I remember like not being able to look into his eyes and just being shy, to be honest. I was super shy, and it was really awkward, and he would just flirt with me and I would get nervous and all that. But we didn't like kiss or anything like that. We were just like, I was super innocent by that time, so we didn't kiss until a time where we did. So before we kissed, there was a time where, he told me to meet him at the park. It was like kind of late, but not that late. So I told my mom, I'm going to go to church and all that. And it wasn't like odd or anything for me to go to church because I used to go to church like a lot. And I did like going to church. So yeah. So I met him at the park, and, we kind of sat on a bank and we were just talking, and we got to a point where, we were just in silence and just, feeling stuff. And I remember I cried. I don't know why, but I cried. I was so emotional and sentimental that I cried because, I was sad that we were doing something like in secret and we couldn't meet like in the afternoon and all that. I was sad because I was a side chick. Like, I felt really bad about myself that I was like in the middle of the night at a park and I lied to my mom, and I was with a guy who already had a girlfriend. I felt really bad about myself. And I started to cry, and then he was like confused because he didn't know, and nor did I. It was all weird. So he just hugged me and held me and, told me, everything's going to be fine and all that. So while I was in that situation, I remember listening in my head to this song called Lloro, which literally means I cry. And that's a song that kind of says, if you see me cry, it's because of you. So after that, I did go to church, but I was pretty late and I just started to cry more. And I remember people like watching me and just being like, what happened? Or, I was a kid, like, you see a kid crying, what would you think, But yeah. So let's go to the kiss scene. So I remember we met, but it was like a unexpected thing. I remember we hadn't met like in a week or something, and I wanted to meet him. So I texted him like, hey, I'm going to church. Like, can you meet me halfway? And we met at a street like nearby, and we were, just talking on the street, but not really on the street, but we were outside. And then he told me, I'm going to kiss you. And I was like, what? Just so you know, I had never kissed someone before, like for real. Like I had kissed, but it was like a little kiss, like not a real or French kiss. You know what I mean? So I was like, you're not. And then he told me, yes, I am. And then he did it. And oh my God, it was like how can I explain this? It was crazy. Like I felt, that's Rosita. That's my dog.
¿Qué quieres?
Yeah. So let's go to the kiss. So, I felt fireworks. I don't know if that's the name, but have you watched the Katy Perry video called Fireworks? Like that's a song. So that video clip, like I felt like that. And oh my God, like it was magical. Like I had never felt that. So while we were kissing, which I wasn't really like kissing him. He was doing all the work. I just stayed there. So someone like did this. And I freaked out because I thought it was someone that knew me or knew my mom. I just started to wonder, like, what if that person knows my mom and tells my mom? I freaked out, and he just hugged me so the person couldn't see my face, and it was scary, but, kind of fun. And, that happened, and then he walked away, and then I went to church, and that's how it happened. And you may be wondering, like, how did you get there? Like, you knew he had a girlfriend. How did you do that? Until now, I can't really understand why I accepted that. Don't get me wrong, because I did tell him, break up with her, like, we can be together. And he kind of laughed at me and said, like, we couldn't be together even if we wanted to. Like, they kind of were together, like, for 2 years now. So he told me, like, I'm not gonna leave her because, I've been with her, like, for 2 years now, like, and I'm gonna leave her because of you. Like, that's crazy, that. And I would just beg him to fucking stay with me. And I told him, like, well, like, just stay. And he would tell me, we have to stop this. And I would just beg him. And he would just stay. And we would continue talking and, loving each other, maybe. Like, I did love him. I don't know if it was real love, but I had fallen in love with him. You know what I mean? I just loved him. What can I say? By this time, no one really knew about us. Like, my brother didn't know, so did my mom. Because, I couldn't tell my brother because he would be pissed off and he would hate me. Wouldn't have accepted that relationship, and my mother, would just freak out, and and the only one who knew were my friends, my girlfriends and all that. So we got to a point where one of his girlfriend's friends oh my God, saw us, and they kind of told his girlfriend, and his girlfriend found out we were like, he was having another chick. So he was having a love affair with someone else, and that someone was me and all that. So he started to have like problems with his girlfriend, and he would just tell me, I fought with her and we had a argument, and then we had a fight and all that. And he would be worried and that. So his girlfriend found out that we were dating, and he would tell me, we have to stop this. We can't continue. And I would just beg him again to stay and all that. He tried. I don't want to defend him or anything because he was a son of a bitch. He will always be a son of a bitch. But, I just hate myself because he told me to stop and I didn't want to listen to him, So yeah, he once kind of tried to break up with me and I begged him. I remember I was like in my bedroom and I was like speaking really, really low. I was trying to be like super silent and all that. And I would beg him and I would tell him, don't go, don't leave me and all that. And I would cry. Oh my God. How embarrassing is that? But anyway, I don't remember why, but I broke up with him. I got tired of everything, of the situation, of him just telling me about his girlfriend and the problems they had, and seeing, photos on Facebook and seeing posts of them together and him telling her how much he loved her and all that. And that would piss me off and that would make me really mad. And I would tell him and he would just be like, she's my girlfriend and all that. And he would tell me, I love you so much. You're my princess. You're everything to me and all that. And I would be like, what the fuck? So I got tired, I got tired. I couldn't take no more and I broke up with him. And I think the reason why I broke up with him was because I told my brother and my brother was like, break up with him or I'm gonna tell my mom. I had also had enough of everything, so I broke up with him and he begged me. He didn't want to end the love affair and he would reach out for me and all that, but I just wouldn't take it. So after the breakup, the real breakup, I would be sad and I couldn't get out of bed for like weeks, and my grandmother would be like, what's going on with you? Like, are you okay? My brother wasn't there that much. He didn't understand the situation. He didn't understand me. He would be just like, you're stupid and all that. Because when I told him, he like literally told me I was stupid, which I was, but he didn't have to tell me that. And he told me like, he has a girlfriend, right? And I was like, yes, I know that. So he doesn't love you that much, at least not that much. And I would be like, yeah, but he says he loves me and all that. So I couldn't get out of bed. I was sad. I was depressed. Like one of my girlfriends, was really worried about me, and I would cry. I would cry just to talk about him, and my girlfriend's mother would tell me, no, you're gonna be fine and all that. And she even talked to my mom so that my mom could let me hang out with them, like with my girlfriend and her, and she would like support me and we would try to end my depression and all that. So yeah, I don't know how I got over him. I don't remember, honestly. I deleted his number and I unfriended him on Facebook, and then I found out he broke up with his girlfriend, and I ran into him like a few times, but nothing really happened. He would still be flirty with me, and I would kind of think about getting back together, but I never really did. And he would text me and he would reach out for me, but I just tried not to follow that. So that's how it happened. I don't know what you think Oh my god, I'm this is like a story I'm not proud of, but yeah, it's like kind of embarrassing, to be honest. But anyway, I'm kind of glad I didn't stay with him though, because he wanted something else from me. He wanted to have sex. Because I remember there were times where he would get like kind of horny, and he would tell me, I want to fuck you and all that. I would be like flattered. I would find it flattering, but I wasn't really thinking about having sex with him. Or I don't know. I think I fantasized about that, but I'm not sure, because by that time I wasn't really thinking about having sex with anyone. Oh, I remembered. I have to tell you about like my first time. But the first time I had sex, because it was really funny. So maybe I'm gonna talk about that on like in the next episode of my podcast. So yeah, that's it. I don't have a name for the podcast yet, because I don't know how to name it. And I want to call it something like My Fucked Up Life, or Sandra's Fucked Up Life, or something like that, because it's basically about me telling stories about my life, fucked up stories, and my tragedies and all that. So I don't know. So thanks for listening. If you got here, tell me, what are your thoughts? Like, I really want to know your opinion. Or do you have anything to say about this or about me? I don't know. I still can't believe there are people, or that there could be people that listen to this podcast like completely or entirely. Because it's just me talking and talking and saying stupid things. So I'm not sure if there's someone who listens to this like por gusto, like for pleasure or something like that. But anyway, I'm just gonna go. Like, I have nothing else to say, and I just humiliated myself in front of some people. So yeah, I need some time to process what's gonna happen next. So see you next time, and take care and say something. Give me your feedback or anything, so that I don't feel alone in this world.
Rosie,
Cheeky! Say hi. Say something. She's kissing me. Oh my god. Do something funny so that I have more subscribers.